Anyhow, from fire eating, I started thinking sword swallowing. I could probably swallow a sword. I remember swallowing a piece of spaghetti and pulling it back up when I was a kid, about 10. I also remembered sticking my finger down my throat to get the alcohol out of my system, and I could relax with my finger back there when I was in junior high. And that was high school. But I had just started doing yoga. I had a good friend of mine who was into yoga. Satchidananda had an ashram, Swami Satchidananda, upstate Connecticut. It was one of the early ashrams in the U.S., or at least on the East Coast. And I was very interested in Hatha yoga and the breathing techniques, and Indian mysticism, Indian magic was fascinating to me. I always believed in real magic. I said, this got to be. Indian yogis, it's been around for too long. I believe people can levitate for real. David Blaine, I don't think anybody's going to levitate on television for real. Doug Henning always wanted to do it, but he never did for television. It can't be done for television. I mean, too much of the ego gets involved, and it's grandstanding. It's not for. If you see anything that's real, you're never going to see real magic on television. Not that I don't think so. I doubt it. Maybe. Who knows? Black magic. Woo.
But you were saying how fire eating, you take that at that moment you wanted to find something new, and you thought of you did fire eating to grab people, but then
fire eating to grab the crowd, and then it was a challenge to mix comedy with fire eating. And then someone said to me one day, he said, "Did you ever see any old fire?" They said, "Watch out with the fire eating. Did you ever see any old fire eaters?" I said, "Thank you very much." Yeah, fire eating is really, really bad for you. The mucous membranes in the mouth absorb the chemicals. It goes to the liver. It's not a good thing to do. I still do eat fire from time to time. I put it in the show, but only for special occasions. And I've got my routine down. I know when and what to do with it.
But so then the leap. So you went from fire eating, that leap, the crossover to swords.
Adding the sword swallowing. I saw a sword swallower in Boulder, Colorado by the name of Rollick Montebank, who was a magician, sword swallower. His real name was Leo Greep. Phenomenal performer. Powerful, strong sword swallower magician. This guy could grab a crowd. He used to travel Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and I'm a big fan of Bye Bye Brazil. There was a movie, Bye Bye Brazil, traveling around South America in a school bus with a little gypsy troupe of performers, and he really embodied all that. And his wife was a trapeze artist. They were circus performers when they weren't street performing, and I thought, I'm not that character that he is. He's got this kind of swashbuckling pirate, kind of like, that's not me. I was thinking, I'm not that kind of guy. How do I present sword swallowing? This is a challenge for me. I can't be this macho, danger, impervious to pain. It's like, how do I do this? But I want to be gentle. I don't want parents to grab their kids and yank them away from the show. Don't you get out of here. I mean, it still happens once in a while, but I've taken it down. I mean, when I first started, here's the thing that happened. I was noticing when I'd make the change in the show, I'd do the first half of the show, magic, then I'd say, now it's time for the sword swallowing, folks. Sometimes people would say, the women would say to their husbands, it's time to go, let's go. I can't watch this, honey, let's not go. I don't want to watch this, let's go. To find, I would pay attention to the audience and say, those people that are leaving, I want those people to stay. These ones that are staying, I got them. But I don't want anybody to leave the show. How do I do that? So by adding comedy and swallowing only 4 swords during the duration of the sword swallowing act, minimizing it, I learned how to hold an audience.
But the swords, I mean, what was the first thing? I mean, you were mentioning how you would swallow. You remembered swallowing spaghetti, and then you remembered, how when you made
Johnny,
yourself.
can you scoot this way again?
Yep.
When you made yourself get sick. But I mean, then to make.
It didn't work. I didn't make myself get sick. I never got sick.
When to throw up or anything, or?
I had to use another system because I was so relaxed. So I'd use my stomach to suck, to pull. I'd suck my stomach in at the same time as I'd belch and get these muscles working, and to reverse the peristalsis, I was able to do it. And by realizing that I could do that, I was thinking, wow, I'm in control of this. I can control this. What else can I do with this? How do I learn to swallow a sword? And so I started practicing on my own with a coat hanger that I pulled into the shape of a sword, stretched it out, and then started getting the feel of what it feels like to have metal in the esophagus. And it's not comfortable at first. It's like, the body wants to reject it. And how then it's like, how deep can I go? And I'm reading Grey's Anatomy at the same time, and my sister, who's in the medical profession, I call her on the phone and said, hey, how do I tell how far I can go with this? Can I go into the stomach? She says, you're not. She says, yeah, but it's a trick. She was thinking, because I'm doing magic. I've been a magician for a few years. She says, yeah, but you don't really do it, little brother. I said, no, sis, I'm really doing it. She says, come on. I said, look, I've had it down 15 inches so far. I've got it down about 15 inches so far. She says, you're crazy, you're nuts, you're insane. I said, look, I just want to know, where's the stomach? How far can I go? Can I go into the stomach, go past the valve into the stomach? And here's what I called Rollick. I called him on the phone. I said, Rollick, how do I judge how long the sword I can swallow? And he said, are you really doing it? I said, yeah, I got it down 15 inches. He says, yeah, you're really doing it. And he says, now you got to go till you touch the valve that goes into the stomach, the cardiac sphincter valve.
You want to hold a second? Yeah, we'll start. The truck is.
Okay.